According to a report produced by Al Jazeera, at least 2 Sri Lankans have been killed fighting for Russia in Ukraine and 3 on the Ukrainian side. The report said that 1 Sri Lankan succumbed to injuries sustained from a Ukrainian attack on a Russian bunker in the Donetsk region. He was reportedly carried away from the site by a fellow Sri Lankan who was also injured in the attack. The surviving Sri Lankan had said he had no option but to leave his fellow countrymen behind as the Ukrainian drones rained down death. The body was later identified by other Sri Lankans fighting with the Russian forces, and it was the second recruit from the tropical South Asian island to die in recent months fighting for Russia in the bleak Donetsk battlefield. Hundreds of Sri Lankans are now serving with the Russian military in Ukraine, most lured into combat by Russia's offer of salaries up to $3,000 a month and the prospect of Russian citizenship. Al Jazeera said that many more, mostly retired Sri Lankan soldiers are also desperately trying to join the Russian army, willing to risk death at the hands of the Ukrainian forces in exchange for Moscow's money, amid dire poverty at home in Sri Lanka. It added that according to retired and current members of Sri Lanka's military, despite the deaths of Sri Lankans in Ukraine, many others are willing to take their places on the Russian front lines. A serving Sri Lankan also told Al Jazeera that he would consider deserting his post if he had an opportunity to join the Russian military. Sri Lankans have also died fighting for Ukraine's freedom. In December, Captain Ranish Hevage, who commanded a special unit of fighters, and MM Priyantha and Rodney Jayasinghe, 2 other Sri Lankan men, were killed fighting against Russian forces. Hevage was buried on the 15th of December with several Ukrainian soldiers at Minov, 400 kilometers east of Kyiv, but the bodies of the other 2 Sri Lankans were never recovered. About 20 other Sri Lankans who were serving with the International Legion of Territorial Defense of Ukraine left the unit after Hevage's death, according to 25-year-old Lahiru Hathurusinghe, who carried injured Ranish Hevage for several kilometers despite his own injuries. Hathurusinghe, who deserted from the Sri Lanka army to fight for Ukraine, is believed to be the only Sri Lankan still attached to the Ukrainian side in the war with Russia.